Good morning and happy Hat Day on our last Sunday of April, beautiful people. I am Reverend Vicki Jeter, your minister for Louisville Center for Spiritual Living. Thank you, everyone, for being with us this Sunday, April 27th, 2025. We welcome all paths to God. We welcome your challenges. We welcome your questions. All pieces and paths of spirit, all areas of ourselves and parts of our lives are essential to a world that works for all. So whether you're here with us for the first time or if you're watching us on YouTube, thank you for being with us because you are why we are here every week. Now, there are two significant events happened this week for our awareness and community going into opening prayer. First, the transition of Pope Francis. The synchronicity that occurred within 24 hours of Easter Sunday with his transition is a powerful, powerful dynamic in the Catholic faith and actually reverberates through race consciousness as a whole because the Catholic faith is such a cornerstone for so many people, and his beingness really, really held an umbrella of faith for the whole world. Anybody that ever heard that man speak would know that. And so there's an additional synchronicity that has been magnified in that by at the same time that that was going on, there was a new discovery of a color that has been revealed on the color spectrum that's never been seen before. And as far as they know, there's only 5 people on the planet that have ever seen it. And it's called now Olo, an actual color, like we've got blue, red, green, and now we have Olo that has been previously unknown. And it has been called a divine luminescence that is normally not perceived, and people are really holding it as something that came through as Pope Francis transitioned. And so next, last week was the grand opening of the Science of Mind archives. Some of you may recall that we were quite concerned when home office had to go virtual. You know, what to do with those archives is a pretty big deal. And they did special fundraisers and all kinds of stuff. And ultimately, it has been brought to a new home at Unity Village in Missouri. And so this is quite the demonstration in prayer. And the picture there is of Dr. Reverend Jesse Jennings and Dr. Sonny Cantrell. And when I saw that picture, it just so touched my heart because those are 2 individuals who have been foundational to me coming into ministry. And to see them together was just like, oh, yes, this is good. And so it is on that kind of energy as we talk about regenerativity and history today that I invite you to take a moment and set your intention as we go into opening prayer. Check in and see, personally, take that pausing breath and see what brought you to be with us today. Our shared intention is to follow Reverend Carolyn's guidance as our speaker today in gleaning the importance of roots, our roots, the roots of Science of Mind, and how those roots and caring for those roots lend toward the process of our being able to do regenerativity when we need it and moving forward. And with all of that, I recognize one life, one love, one infinite presence that emerges as all existence, all that we are, all that is, anywhere, in any dimension, at any level, in any way, is the divine, moving in, through, and as each and every one of us. And in this sense of unity, as we come together for this service today, I know that the highest and best is served for each individual and for us collectively as we do this all-encompassing look at how all of this works together. And I bless Reverend Carolyn as a divine vessel of spirit and everyone who is doing the receiving. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God. I just release it, allowing it to be, and so it is. And this brings us to our opening song, Every Day by Miss Denise Rosier.
Tiny drops of water bouncing on my roof, drumming out a song of love, pounding out the truth. You send them to remind me, one for every blessing on me, and oh, they keep coming. Of freeway traffic, in the hush of a sunset, you get my attention, I'm listening. It's a private conversation, you and I in a one vibration, and oh, it moves me so.
Every day. This brings us to our mission and vision. The mission of Louisville Center for Spiritual Living is to teach personal transformation as a virtual community, living the principles of science of mind and celebrating all paths to God, which manifests our vision of a world that honors and respects all people. Now, most of you will recall that we are walking through the global vision for CSL worldwide. This week, our global vision statement, we envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life, a world where this kinship with all life prospers and connects through the guidance of spiritual wisdom and experience. And that is by Dr. Edward Vion. Now, that's an application overall of what we believe. And each week we have an application of what we believe that applies more immediately to what's happening right here and right now. And I invite you to say these with me every week. And specifically this week, I invite you to notice that these statements are by Pope Francis. And I'm not setting those here for us to spend some time on just because we're honoring the being. Notice that he is like Sonny Cantrell for the Catholic faith. He is the overarching spiritual leader, has been the spiritual leader for the entire faith. And what he says here is universal principle. It applies to all of us. This teaching that we call the science of mind is everywhere. And he says, I love these. You pray for the hungry, and then you feed them. And that's how prayer works. Treat and move your feet. Rivers do not drink their own water. Trees do not eat their own fruit. Life is good when you're happy, but much better when others are happy because of you. Now I turn this over for sacred reading and meditation to our practitioner of the week, Miss Tammy Evans.
Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to be doing today's reading and meditation. A reading from The Four Pivots by Sean Ginwright. The phrase rest in peace is typically reserved for funerals. The sanctity of rest is granted only in death. The message we receive about rest as weakness is everywhere, and every day we unconsciously take small bites of this poisonous message without knowing it. The idea that rest is weakness is also true for those of us who have dedicated our lives to justice, freedom, and equality. Consider the popular lyrics in Sweet Honey in the Rox Ella song. We believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. On the surface, phrases like this mean that we must remain committed and dedicated in our tireless work for freedom. But on a deeper level, it reinforces the same message as the tortoise and the hare. If you rest, you will lose. If we are unaware of the ways that we create and celebrate martyr culture, we run the risk of burning out, creating unsustainable lifestyles and damaging our relationships. One of the most underestimated challenges to justice is rest. Rest is not just sleep, meaningless hibernation, inactive slumber, or useless dormancy. Rest is an act of freedom, a middle finger to oppression. As we take a moment to go into today's meditation, take a few deep, relaxing breaths. Get comfortable in your chair and allow my words to become yours. As we meditate, we are changing our relationship with passing thoughts and feelings. We learn how to view them with a little more perspective. When we do this naturally, we find a peace of calm. We naturally find a place of calm. We sometimes get distracted, and that's okay. I remember that mindful is not about having a blank mind. It's normal to think. Don't judge yourself for thinking. Simply allow any thoughts to come and go. Imagine placing each thought on a white, fluffy cloud, and then watch them float away. Knowing they will pass through, perfectly at ease in both body and mind. Thinking is not important here. Realize that you are more fully yourself when you are not thinking. When you're not thinking, you can realize what being is. What it means to be. And you can sense that being that you are. Feel that sense of being present in your whole body. Feel the aliveness inside your body. Being present with every cell. When we sit in this presence, we are in a natural state. This is where we are most ourselves, the place where we belong, in presence, in peace. We are simply just being in the moment. What is it like to be here? What is possible from here? Notice what comes up for you. There's no right or wrong, only what's true for you. Give yourself permission to let go of any expectations that might be here and just loving accept whatever comes up. What we are realizing is the presence. Notice what it means to be present in our lives. There's no such thing as time. Past and future become irrelevant. You are already complete. You don't need the past to realize who you are. You don't need the future to be more fully yourself. When we're present, we're more able to lead happy and fulfilling lives. Because we're not transforming the challenges of life into a unhappy life or an unhappy identity. We are able to see the challenges of life for what they are, and we can address them in the present moment. When your mind is busy, let the breath guide you back to yourself. When you're focused on the breath, you are always focusing on the present moment. You cannot get back a past breath. You cannot breathe in a future breath. You can only breathe this breath right here and right now. When we are being with what is, we are in our natural state. We get out of our own way and we find peace. We can always switch from what we're doing and being to finding the gift of the present moment. Know that this place is always available to you. Notice how you feel. Stay present. Keep observing. Notice what thoughts come up. Let it unfold as it is. Now, taking a deep breath, returning to this space and time. Breathe in the space. Breathe in your presence. Take this moment to notice how you feel. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes. Namaste. Now, please enjoy us in viewing special music, Rise Up, with a mother and son duet, Jordan Rabjohn and his mom.
You broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round, and you can't find the fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out and move mountains. We gon' walk it out and move mountains.
And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up,
And I'll do it 1,000 times again.
and I'll rise up, high like the waves. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I'll rise up,
And I'll do it 1,000 times again.
for you,
For you,
for you. When the silence isn't quiet and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe,
and I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet.
move mountains.
Bring it to its feet.
And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up,
And I'll do it 1,000 times again. again.
And we'll rise up high like the waves. We'll rise up in spite of the ache. We'll rise up.
And we'll do it 1,000 times again for you. For you.
Good morning, everybody. I love that song. I'm always amazed at what Vicky is able to do in finding such unique songs that just bless us in so many ways. And I wanted to thank Tammy for her beautiful meditation this morning. It's wonderful to be a part of this very special service with people giving from their heart to others. The theme for the year is Rising Higher and Growing Deeper. The theme for April is Fertilizing Our Future. And today's topic is Surprising Topics. I embrace my regenerative power, renewing my potential with each cycle of life. Regenerative, that's a word that you don't hear very often. And when I first read it, I thought, it says exactly what it is. It is regenerating energy. There's a scientific law that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It's just changed. It goes from one expression to another expression, but it's never lost. And you can't create new energy. You take energy that's here and you create it in a new form, but it's already there. And that idea that we are constantly re-energizing ourselves, our world, the things around us, all of that is very, very inspiring and comforting. You know, all of us have loss in our life, whether it's a person that we lose, whether it's a job we lose, whether it's a comfort that we lose, a place to live. We all have things that we lose in life. But if we look back on it, those things are replaced with something else. Sometimes not as quickly as we'd like for them to be, sometimes not in the way we would like for them to be, but they are always replaced, because that's that whole nature of it, that what is let go, something else takes its place, a new energy, a different expression of the energy that already was. So to regenerate, and in our personal lives, our spiritual lives, it's the things that we talk about over and over and over again. Meditation, prayer, music, affirmations, study, all of those things that we do that help us to mold our lives, our heart, our mind into more and more of an expression of the spirit that we are. And so nothing's ever lost. It's always just there to be re-energized, to be regenerated. And so one of the things that they talk about is that you cultivate continuous growth and renewal in our lives. And as I said, the things that we do, what are we thinking about? What are we focusing on? What are we inviting into our lives? What is it that inspires us, that excites us, that makes us really happy to be alive? And those are the things that we want to focus on and welcome into our lives more and more all the time. There is a continuous cycle of renewal and regrowth. It's continuous. It's always there. You can't change it. And it's in your life, and it's in all nature. And when I thought of that, I thought of a couple of things that I've learned over the years that amazed me. Who can tell me the benefits of forest fires? When we think of forest fires, we think of devastation. And we recently think about things that happened in California, but that's not a forest fire. That's burning things that are man-made and all. But a true forest fire, what are the benefits of them? Years ago, Yellowstone had a major fire, and it was brought a lot of sadness to a lot of people because there was a lot of destruction and there was a lot of loss of animal life. But it also was a needed thing. Tracy and I were in Yellowstone a few years after the fire, and yes, you could still see all the burned acres and acres and acres, but you could also see the new growth. And so on the internet, I looked up what are the benefits of a forest fire. It renews forest life, the balance of all things in the forest. It opens the forest canopies, which are necessary for growth and development in the forest. It restores nutrients. It controls the invasion of species that are negative, and it has creation of new grasslands. Sequoias have to have a fire to grow. That's part of their growth cycle is to sometime have a fire. Post-fire vegetation growth, adaptability of plant species. I share all that to bring to mind what appears to be just destruction really had great benefit. Doesn't look the way we might think it ought to look, but it's always there. And it's true in your life as well as it is in a forest. Sometimes we have things in our life that look or feel devastating, but something will come of that. Something good will come of that. It's the law of life. In my personal life, as I get more mature, there are things in my life that change. I don't move as fast. I don't move as confidently. I don't really want to move that much, and there are things that have taken the place of that energy are meditation, reading. I'm a big reader, and I love the fact that I can this afternoon have a lazy Sunday afternoon. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to go anywhere. I can take a book and sit in my chair and enjoy it. I have dinner made already because we're having leftovers, and so I can really rest. Whereas years ago I was moving. Whatever I was doing, I was moving, and I moved a lot. So things change. The other thing that I thought of that I wanted to share with you that surprised me when I read it years ago, deserts in Africa. There are more of them than there used to be. There are more wastelands, where their grass doesn't really grow and it doesn't have real life, and water retention is almost nil. And this documentary was saying the reasons why that has happened and why it continues to happen. And one of the reasons that surprised me so much was we have less herds of wild animals. There are just fewer of them for whatever civilization encroaching on them, the actual deserts, and just whatever, that they have fewer great herds moving around. And the movement of the herds conditioned the land. It kept it stirred up and it kept it conditioned. And their waste products that they left along the way as they went nourished the land, gave it nutrients, giving it all the things that it needed. And that resulted in water retention. That's not happening. So the water is not being retained, and we have more and more deserts. I share these examples to say to you, look for the good that comes from whatever is going on in your life, and know that it will come. Whatever is happening, whatever loss you have, there will come gain. There will come blessing. There will come good, because that's just the cycle of life. So that's regeneration. The other topic that we're going to talk about this morning, I know that y'all remember my fascination with this little book. I just think it's a delightful thing, and I've talked about Quimby and other things, other people, but today we're going to talk about Mary Baker Eddy. She was the founder and the creator of Christian Science. I know that all of you know a little bit about Christian Science, even if you don't know a lot. It's a movement in America that has had a great influence over the last 100+ years. She was born in 1821. She died in 1910. She lived 89 years, and she had quite the life. She just really had quite the life. She was plagued with illnesses from her youth on in, and had two healings, at least two that she's documented and that are very well understood from major illnesses. But I'm sure there were other things too that she was healed of. She, has a young person in her teen years and young adult, had a condition that no one really knows or is willing to name. They think about it and they give ideas, but no one really knows what it was. But she would be going along, and all of a sudden, she'd just collapse. She'd fall down on the floor, and sometimes she would be yelling and screaming and thrashing about, and other times she would be comatose. She would be, out of it. But it happened quite a bit. And that was one of the things that she was healed of. But she had other illnesses through her life as well. And she made it her goal to study healing, her own healing and healing for others, and how you did it. How did you go about praying for someone and asking them to be well, and they respond with wellness? She studied that for herself and everyone else. She founded Christian Science on that healing, healing in the original Christian way, studying the life of Jesus, studying his works, what they were, how he did them, what made his words and actions so healing to people. And how could you duplicate that? How could she bring that into her life and into the lives of others? So Christian Science is very much based on her understanding and her research into the healings of Jesus. As a young person in her home, the Bible was very important. They were religious, the parents were religious, and they went to church a lot, and they studied the Bible, and her father loved to talk about it. He loved it when someone would come and they would talk about a scripture, and they'd give their opinions, and they would discuss it, and she would listen, as he did this a lot. He was an interesting man, very much a man of faith, but he also was a disciplinarian, and he was rough. His disciplines were not easy, and she dealt with that and lived with that from that young age. So that was something that formed her life. She, in her commitment to living the healing of Jesus, she went through a lot of different stages. In her younger years, she was very ill, and she heard about Quimby, and she went to Quimby, and she stayed with Quimby for several months. Now, I hope you remember that we talked about Quimby and his healing. Well, he did that, and she studied with him, and she was healed as while she was there, and she studied, and she spent time with him. She gave lectures, it's all documented, with Quimby, talking about his method and participating in healings. And then she left him and went back to New England and to her home. And she married 3 times. The first time was George, and he didn't live very long. He just, in a very short time, months, was gone. And the second time she married an itinerant dentist. He would go from town to town and do dentistry. And she would go with him and she would do healings, lectures on how to do the healings and praying with people and seeing miracles. She had several well-documented times when she would go somewhere to give a lecture or do something, and someone would say, "Oh, we have to be quiet. A person in the other room is dying." Or she went to, and it was around doctors that were gathered around a person who was dying. She had not been asked to come. She was there for some other reason. And she asked, "Can I have time with that person?" And they would say yes. And she would go into wherever the person was that was so sick. She would spend 15 minutes, maybe a little longer, maybe a little less. And that person would get out of their deathbed, get dressed, and move to the kitchen for a meal. They were healed. And those are documented things that happened to her a lot. When she founded her church, she talked, of course, about healing all the time. She did a lot of healing. Wednesday nights, they would come together and they would testify. People who had had a healing or wanted to testify that something that was happening in their life would come and do that. So they were constantly encouraged to study healing and to practice it for themselves and for others. She was part of the women's movement of that time. In, let's see, 1848, there was the first women's convention for women's rights. And Susan B. Anthony was there, Elizabeth Cady was there, and Mary Baker Eddy was there. One thing she's credited with is that with her teachings and her uh, developing practitioners, which she licensed them through her church later on, but she taught them how to be healers and to go and to sit with people and do healings. She also taught another group of women to be nurses. And you could hire the nurse to come and stay with you in your home, or if you were in a hospital, they would come. They didn't do any treatments as far as medical treatments, but they would pray and they would keep the patient comfortable. And there was a great demand for them. These two things gave women an opportunity to create an occupation that would support them without having to depend on men. And during that time, that was a very important thing to have happen because women were, whatever the men in their lives were telling them, that's what they had and that's what they did. And they were very dependent on others. But she was not. And she taught women how to be of service and have the opportunity to earn money for themselves. So she's credited with that. She's listed as one of the most important women in America. There's a list of 75 women that are noted, and she's one of them because of her influence for giving women an opportunity to have a job and in her whole development of her church. Her third marriage was to Eddie, and he was very supportive of her. He studied her teachings, and that's how they met. He was a student, and he died before she did. And it's funny, well, no, funny, but anyway, she blamed a man that she had asked to leave the church. She blamed him in part for her husband's death. She taught that there was malicious animal magnetism, and that was the ability of a person to hold negative thoughts about someone else and to affect their lives. It's funny, she talked about that mental um, efforts were not as important as knowing the truth of spirit, that you couldn't depend. She became a critic of Quimby's, dismissing him as that mesmerist, and uh, denied that she had ever had anything to do with him. That fact fascinates me. why would she worked with Quimby for all that time, was healed with her relationship to Quimby, and yet in later years, she denied all of it. I never had anything to do with Quimby. He was a freak, and he shouldn't be followed, and he doesn't have anything to teach worthwhile. Why would she do that? And I've never figured it out. The only thing I can think of is ego. She was really saying that what she came up with was hers and hers alone. And it was the only true truth and revelation. So her church, Christian Science, does not read anybody but the Bible and Eddie. That's it. They still do that, and it's over 100 years later. She never wanted to study anyone else. She never thought that anyone else had any value or any true revelation. And I, why did she feel that was necessary? But she did. She felt that she had to protect her teaching and that her people could only benefit from her teaching. So, and I think she used the malicious animal magnetism to somehow define sin. You know, she actually taught that it's all spirit, and spirit is the only truth. That thinking good thoughts, no, it's knowing the truth, sitting with the truth that spirit is for you and you alone. Lord Vernon, let's have the first um, video. This, of course, is Mary Baker Eddy. And this is a time, she wasn't a young woman, but she was moving into more middle age. And this was early in her work. Uh, I, I would have put up 6 or 7 pictures because they're all fascinating in the different ways that she looks. But I put up the next one because it shows what she was like in the later years when her hair had turned white and she was a little older. And in her development, she was in the church. She led the church. She founded it and she led it for a long time and very active in that. But then later, about 10 years before she died, she let the church start to run itself. She let the people that had been um, students and had grown and had been serving the church begin to take over the leadership of it, um, based on her work and only her work. But in the last years, she became very involved with publishing. And the Christian Science Monitor is a well-respected publication that is still being published today. And she started it as it was news, international news, with a slant on what it meant and based on Christian Science. You can take it down, Art Vernon. Um, uh, okay. I wanted to share some of her quotes. When angels visit us, we do not hear the rustle of wings, nor feel the feathery touch of the breast of a dove, but we know their presence by the love they create in our hearts. It's all about love. If love is another name for God, it is what God truly, Spirit truly is. It's love. And as we feel love for other people, for ourselves, for Spirit, any love that we generate that's true love is Spirit expressing. And it's how we begin to know and live our lives closer to expressing pure Spirit. So angels were important, and to think about them and to know them. Divine love always has met and always will meet human need. Whatever you need, whatever it is that's lacking in your life, whatever it is that you want more of in your life, you turn to love, you turn to Spirit, because it's always there and it's always willing to bless you with whatever you need. Okay. Sickness is a belief which must be annihilated by the divine mind. That's the crux of her teaching. Sickness is a belief which must be annihilated by divine mind. Whereas Quimby taught that you need to have pleasant thoughts, you need to think of good things, and that you can heal what is wrong with yourself or with someone else through those thoughts, through opening your mind and expressing the truth of spirit and love. Her teaching was it's not up to you to choose good thoughts. It's up to you to know spirit and to rest in that knowledge and let that knowledge be the sustaining part of your life. Disease is an experience of a so-called mortal mind. It is fear made manifest on the body. So fear made manifest on the body. So you got to move away from fear. You got to move away from the idea that you can be sick and move to the idea that you cannot be sick because you are spirit, and spirit is expressing as you. She denied being part of New Thought. She wanted nothing to do with New Thought, and she didn't want it associated with what she was doing. But actually, a lot of what she teaches is the same of what we teach, but not with the negativity toward what is material. For her, material things are just, they're nothing. And they can be a distraction and they can be harm, but they have no power, no nothing. We believe that material is real. It's something that we live, and it is part of our lives, and it's who we are, and yet we are also spirit. And so we deal with the material in our lives not as if it is a negative or something to be fought, but as something to be expressed and to be understood in the way that spirit teaches, in the blessings of love. I want to close with a prayer that Bob, Vernon, would you put up the last slide? Okay, this is the church. I was in Boston many years ago, and I got an opportunity to visit the actual home church. Now, there are reading rooms scattered around the world, but the church services and all are here in Boston. And it's a huge church, huge complex, and it's beautiful, beautifully done. And I was really impressed with it when I was there. And I wanted to share it with you so you get an idea, the feel for the church itself. Now, Christian Science is like just about every other faith. In the last 20, 30, 40 years, it's become, it started a decline. There are fewer members, and that has afflicted almost every denomination. There's just been something changed in the psyche of the world, and especially in America, and membership in churches has fallen, and it has fallen in Christian Science. In 1990, they were 100,000 over, and in 2009, they were 50,000, and yet they still have a very strong influence. I trained as a chaplain years ago in Houston, and one of the things we talked about in our training was how to deal with a Christian Science patient because they're unique. They come to the hospital because they're in trouble and they need help, but then they deny the treatments that they need. They won't do a blood transfusion, and they won't do much of anything else as far as surgery or any kind of procedure like that. And so how do you deal with them? They come for help, but what do you do if they refuse help? So they have, contrary to their size, they've had a major influence in the culture of America. Okay, Vernon, let's do the next one. Hold thought steadfastly to the enduring, the good, and the true, and you will bring these into your experience proportionately to their occupancy of your thoughts. That's new thought. That's what we teach. Change your thinking, change your life. And she's teaching this as well. Change what you think. Steadfastly think of the good and the true. And this will bring into your experience proportionately the good that you are seeking. Okay. She taught in her book, can't think of the name of it. Science and Health with a Key to the Scriptures. And then the title of the book, you really get what she's talking about. And in that book, she teaches a prayer that she says you need to use every day. Every day you use this prayer. And it starts with, Thy kingdom come. We're all familiar with that phrase, but for her, it meant so much. Thy kingdom come. Spirit, what is yours, what you express, may it come in my mind, in the world, everywhere. Let the reign of divine truth, life, and love be established in me and rule out of me all sin. And may thy word enrich the affections of all mankind and govern them. That's the prayer. Very simple, very short, mainly centered around thy kingdom come. In this prayer, she gave people both a goal to inspire them and a light to guide them as they daily participate in the progress of the Christian Science movement. Thy kingdom come. We breathe in to that phrase and we know the truth that the kingdom of God is expressing fully in each of us and in our world, and we open ourselves to that. We trust it. The Spirit is closer than our breath. It is all that we are, and we are thankful. And we give praise to the system, to the truth, to the power of Spirit expressing in each of our lives. And we are grateful, and we are trusting, and we enjoy knowing that we are one with the one. In this moment, we align ourselves. We stand in the power of the one, knowing truth is expressed through the kingdom of Spirit has come. And so it is.
Okay, now's the time for the giving of our gifts. As always, we appreciate each and every gift we receive. And the ways to give are on the slide and in the chat, along with our snail mail at LCSL, PO Box 43958,
Yeah.
May I turn on the lamp?
This one.
Louisville, Kentucky 40253. And if you will, please join me in today's affirmation. I am a persistent and prosperous, life-affirming vessel of spirit. And I now pass to Vicki for the blessing of our gifts.
And in this space and time, I am so knowing that the word has been spoken and the blessing has been blessed. I simply say, yes, yes, yes. The kingdom of the divine is at hand, and we are the ones we've been waiting for. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God. I release it, I let it be, and so it is.
Okay, now it's time for our announcements. Our men's group is this Thursday, May 1st at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and it is on this Zoom link. For Saturday visioning this week, May 3rd at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. That's about 45 minutes. It's a telebridge call, and the number's there on the number is 712-775-8983, an access code of 809778. And next week, we have a special guest speaker that you will not want to miss, our own Mr. George Conrad. We are one. I want to act that way. It's going to be the message of the talk. And tune into that. I'm excited for it. And our next Zoom board meeting is Monday, May 5th at 6 p.m. And this Zoom link, everybody's welcome.
Oh, that's not right.
Do we have a financial update from our president? Joan?
We do.
All
Yes.
right.
Here I am. Hi, beautiful people. It's good to see you all. You all are the reason I'm here, you know, and all the great things we learned. Thank you, Reverend Carolyn. That was awesome. I want to thank you all for being here. I know you love to be here as much as I do, and we're a great community. Our financial update for April, I have to look at a few notes here. We transferred $650 from our savings to our checkings this past week to meet expenses. But this is better. In March, we had to transfer $900. So thank you. You know, we are improving here, and I just wanted to tell you all how good we're doing, really. In March, we donated $200 to the Appalachian flood recovery. And then this past week, Reverend Vicky received a letter from a Lava's community in Pasadena, California. The Ahaya, I think that's how you say it, Ahaya Center for Spiritual Living. And that we have a letter from them. That was back with a fire. If you all remember all that fire going on in Pasadena and California, Altadena areas where they're at also. Some people have been able to return to their homes, and others are still displaced. And let's see, they say from the letter, on behalf of the Ahaya Board of Trustees and the entire Ahaya community, we thank you for your emergency response to the Eaton fire disaster in the Pasadena and Altadena area. Our Ahaya community has been affected with homes lost and evacuations. The recovery and rebuilding will take some time. About 12 from our community lost everything, and one by one have been placed in temporary housing. So thank goodness, huh? And thank you, Lava, for your quick action and solicitation for assistance. Your emergency response and desire to help Ahaya with prayer first and foremost, and then with supplies. So that's what Pope Francis was saying, huh? Pray and then feed the poor. And then let's see, it all represents your love and compassion for Ahaya and others. The supplies that were delivered were used by those who needed them and were greatly appreciated. We appreciate your continued prayers, and which are still needed, as the devastation, loss, and the grief are still present in our Ahaya community. And that's the end of that letter. I wanted to tell you too, those of us that are doing the plant thing to help our community grow and our love for each other grow, I do have my new rose out there, the Dolly Parton. You won't forget that name, I know. And she is a new growth. I will show you pictures later as she starts to grow big because that's what we're doing. So that's all I have, and thank you.
Okay. Special schedule for May. First Tuesday, Spiritual Connection, Tuesday, May 6th. Well, we got a lot going on this week. From 7 to 8:15 Eastern, Visioning for Financial Flow. And our next class, Financial Freedom, is here. It'll be on Wednesdays, starting May 7th through June 27th from 7 to 9, facilitated by Reverend Vicky and assisted by Katrina Darrow. No required fee, suggested love offering of $100, just $100, and contact Reverend Vicky to register. And please stay for sharing time after the service, after the benediction. And please always remember and don't ever forget that you are magnificent. Now join us for our closing song, You Can Relax Now by Shania Knoll.
You can relax now. Come on and open your eyes. Breathe deeply now. I am with you. Oh, my sweet, sweet child. Who do you think you are? You are the child of God, and that will never change. You had a dream, you misunderstood. You thought we were separate, but now you hear my voice and you can relax now. Come on and open your eyes. Breathe deeply now. I am with you. eternity, and that will never change. You can relax now. I am with you. You are the child of God, and that will never change. You can relax now. You are the child of God.
I invite you to say with me our benediction. Holy Spirit, Mother, Father, God, in this year, I pray to live deeply with purpose, to live freely with detachment, to live wisely with humility, to live justly with compassion, to live lovingly with fidelity, to live mindfully with awareness, to live gratefully with generosity, to live fully with enthusiasm. Help me to hold this vision and to daily renew it in my heart, becoming ever more one with you, my truest self.